What's up? Prince X coming to you from Cineverse, and today I want to talk about something a little bit different on my channel, and it's why I dropped out of college. Now we're at the University of Houston today, and I thought opening up the video here would be a good metaphor for the modern college system. Now, the modern college system, they give you a couple promises, which is job security, that if you go through the path they set out for you, the curriculum, that you have a guaranteed path to success, getting you a job right when you're out of college, and your entire pathway is laid out to you. But what they don't tell you is that a lot of the things that you want to accomplish in life, they don't come from a college education. And I'm going to talk about some of the practical things I learned by actually dropping out of school, and some of the things I learned in school that the college curriculum actually didn't teach me. So let's get into it. Security, status, a pathway to the American dream. All these things are things that you're told when you're young, that if you go to college, you're definitely going to get those things. But what they don't really tell you is that there's a lot of other factors, a lot of other skills that are going to stop you from getting to the place you really want to be. Now, I want to say something by starting this video. There's, of course, a lot of good things when it comes to coming to a school, being in a college or anything like that. But there's also a lot of things that you just don't learn here. Now, in the 1950s, way back in the day, they had a concept, if you're familiar with American culture, called the American dream, which means you go to school, you can get you a house, you can get you 2.5 children, you get the white picket fence, all the things are going to work out fine as long as you went to college. But just like most mainstream concepts, it just was out of date. It was out of date. So as the 1990s approached and the 2000s approached, that model changed. Suddenly all the skills that you could easily commoditize from some machine or technology doing, they were no longer necessary. So it resulted in a bunch of job losses, a bunch of people getting laid off. And all those people wonder, what happened to my American dream? What happened to the security I was promised? Because that security was gone. Now, before I get started on what I learned dropping out of college, I want to first say this. There's, of course, a lot of good things about college. I'm not going to sit here and say there's nothing good about college. Of course, you can build networks. Of course, you can do that. That's, of course, something you can do. Also, if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you're a teacher, if you maybe want to go into the financial sector, get you an MBA, all those things, those are great reasons to go to college. What I learned when I was here I wasn't actually here. This is TSU. I actually went to PV, which is kind of weird, me shooting a video here, right? But what I learned from going to college was that the actual skills that make you successful, and we're concerned with you being an entrepreneur, somebody who's living the life they want. Now, if you want to be just somebody who goes in one of those jobs I talked about, or maybe be a factory worker or something like that, excellent. This is excellent for you.
So in Princeton, tell me about your college experience.
Good, bad, ups, downs. Really, a lot of bullshit until they told me, hey, you know, you can be successful. Then I looked up years later, I got friends, family members, all this type of stuff. They getting laid off because they put their destiny in somebody else's hands. That's what the fuck I believe about college or whatever, right? It's good for certain experiences, but when it comes to actually building the skills that are gonna make you successful in life, it's complete bullshit. This is the perfect place for you to go. However, if you're a person who wants to build your own, if you want to have your own business, you want to build up your own empire, you want to build up your own things, then you have to learn a couple different skills. So I'm going to share with you a story when I really realized that education or traditional education wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to be. Now, of course, when I was younger, my grandmother, she told me that, you know, if I wanted to be somebody who owned their own business, because ever since I was 6, I wanted to own my own business. That was a big thing with me. At the time, I wanted to have my own engineering firm. But what I realized, it wasn't that I wanted to have my own engineering firm, but what it was that I wanted to own my own business. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to strike out. So everybody around me told me the best way to do that was go to college, right? We've all heard before that the best way to succeed in life is go to college. So I went to college, I did that. I went through the courses and classes. But what I started finding was that I started losing motivation because all the stuff they were teaching me in class, it just didn't seem that it was that useful. And I realized at first that anything that you can pretty much learn in a classroom, you can learn from a book, a textbook. It's not really anything that's groundbreaking or something that's going to really teach you how to be successful. I'll give you a prime example. Everybody who hates math, if you love math, this may not sound that amazing to you, but if you hate math, this will kind of shock you. I had a class, it was Calculus 2. Everybody hates the big C word, right? Calculus, right? And I hadn't went to that class all year because, of course, like I said, I wasn't motivated. I was losing motivation. But, you know, in college, a lot of times you don't have to go to class. As long as you can show up for the test and take the test, well, they'll let you pass. So what I did was I got a review sheet from some girl, and she told me, this is what's going to be on the test. You need to study. You need to make sure you study. And I said, you know what? I got this. I went to the library, and I sat there for maybe 2 or 3 days in a row, and I taught myself enough calculus to pass the exam. So I got a passing grade on the exam, but what did they really teach me? let me tell y'all something. Y'all better go to college. If you don't, you're gonna end up under a bridge just like me. You see, I didn't go to college. Let me tell you something. Right now, if I had some calculus, if I had some trigonometry, yeah, that's what I need. If I had some trigonometry right now, that would get me out of this position. That's the thing I need. Right now, if I could go and somehow retake English 4 or British literature, I would be able to be successful. But no, out here right now, because I never took calculus. Did it teach me that, oh shit, you can just go to class, you can fuck off all year, and then come in at the last minute, and then somehow pass? Because if you think about it, life's not like that. What I found was, and where the most growth came from college, was nowhere in the classroom, but it came from when I joined the organization. And the reason that the most growth came from this, because I was learning the practical entrepreneurial skills. I was learning how to put together events. I was learning how to work with teams. I was learning how to build networks. I was learning how to do all these things, but none of these things I was learning in the classroom. So Will, hey man, see you've been coming up a lot in your business or whatever, right? That organic chemistry must really be helping out right now.
Yeah, I mean, I use it sometimes. The only time I actually use organic chemistry or any other subject for that matter is when someone who's actually in college comes to me and asks me for help with their homework. That's the only time I use it. I don't.
Oh, so college would be excellent if you wanted to be a tutor also.
I mean, if you want to be a tutor, if you want to help people with their homework, you know.
Oh, college professor.
A college professor. Like sometimes, you know, people will pay me to do the homework sometimes, you know. That's the only.
Let me ask you sometimes. When's the last time you wrote an informative essay?
Informative essay.
Cause you know the real shit that they tell you to write in business, that shit doesn't like even apply.
I don't remember at all writing an informative essay at all, period. Maybe if I'm applying for a job, but since I'm an entrepreneur and own my own business, I don't really be doing that anymore. So,
lesson learned.
Go to school. I'm not trying to deter anybody from going to college or actually pursuing an education because it's fucking great. Great opportunity to meet women. Great opportunity to meet new people to elevate your business. But other than that, fucking useless.
And like I said before, of course, college has great experiences. There's things you're gonna learn in college. What I'm talking about is the practical things you need to do as an entrepreneur. There's a great book that talks about this. It's called The Education of Millionaires, where it talks about the idea of how the practical things that you need to learn to be successful as an entrepreneur, nobody teaches this shit. Nobody teaches entrepreneurship when you go to school. Even if you go get you a classic MBA, it's not teaching you the practical skills that you're gonna need. So what I learned from that situation really came to a head when I talk about this off the time in my story. I'll leave a link to the video right here. And I talk about how one of my teachers came in one day, slammed his scripts on the table and said, you know, you take these down to Hollywood and you hope that somebody picks them up. And right at the time, I wanted to be a filmmaker actually. And I said, you know what, I'm not hoping for shit. I'm leaving school and I'm gonna learn the things that really make you successful. What followed after that was 6 years of hardships, heartbreaks, failures, all the things that really make you an entrepreneur, that really forge that steel. And it wouldn't be years later I realized those same skills that I had learned from building an organization, those were the things that were really helpful to me in the regular world. So things like sales, things about how to market, things about how to work with teams, things like all these things, they don't teach you in a classroom. They don't teach you how to work with other people. So I started believing that, oh, if I had a degree, if I had all these things, they would make me more successful. What I found when I was an entrepreneur, when I went out there in the world, nobody gave a shit. Like literally nobody cared if I had a degree. I go walk up, I go do business with people, I'd walk in and nobody cared when I did a degree. We went and signed the deal, partnered with Matthew Knowles. He didn't give a shit if we had a degree. One of the first clients I ever closed, I didn't even have any presentation material in the hand. All he cared about was, could I get the job done? Did I have the practical skills of an entrepreneur to make myself successful? See, this is the stuff they don't talk about in school. What I realized was that if you're going to really build the lifestyle you want, the skills that you're going to learn are not in school. They're not right there in front of you. They're not going to be given to you. You're going to have to go out there and practically experience some things in order to make you successful. Which brings me to the next point that I really want to talk about. Should you leave school, or what happens when you actually leave school? So I want to dispel one myth about dropping out of school and the glory of entrepreneurship and getting out there and grinding it out. Just leaving school, throwing it all behind, throwing caution to the wind, right? I'm going to tell you something. If you drop out of school and you don't do one thing, you're going to fucking fail. I'm just being honest. And what is that one thing? Taking massive amounts of action. Look, if you drop out of school and you're not willing to take massive amounts of action, you're just gonna be at home playing 2K, playing Madden, watching some bullshit shows on Netflix, rerunning over and over and over again, and you're not gonna go anywhere in life. And then people are gonna be around you. What happened? I thought you were gonna drop out of school and be an entrepreneur. And guess what they're gonna say? You know what? He needed college. You know what? You needed college. If you would have been in college right now, you would have been successful. But what they don't tell you is that if you take massive action, that's the only pathway to getting where you want. Look, if you want to, like I said before, if you want to be a factory worker, you've heard Will probably pop on here and talk about it. If you want to be a factory worker, that's cool. Go do that or whatever, right? But all that shit you learned in school, you're not going to use it right now.
It was business stats. So I took business statistics.
Shit, business stats.
Business statistics.
Any of that applicable right now?
Not really.
All that stuff, I taught myself calculus. Guess what? I haven't used a piece of calculus in the last, when's the last time you used calculus, Will?
Never.
You know, what the fuck would I be using calculus for? The real reason you fail is because you don't get out there and take action. Look, when I left school, I spent literally 6 years studying all the things, ins and outs of business, how to make processes, how to make systems, how to market, how to sell, all these things. It was like I never left school. But only difference was I was in school for myself. I was building a business for myself. Those are the things that are really going to make you successful. But if you don't take the time to do that, if you don't take massive action, you drop out of school, you're going to be a washout. And this is what the half-truth of life is. That most people say that you need school to be successful, but they don't talk about work ethic. They don't talk about learning sales. They don't talk about none of the things that are really going to make you successful. All they tell you is go to school and guarantee success. But even the friends that I've seen who've gotten jobs straight out of school, it's because they had hustle. It's because they had grind. I remember the biggest thing that I found when it came to school was that I thought for 6 years that I you kind of doubt yourself as an entrepreneur. You're like, damn, am I making the right choice, the right decision? I see people around here, they're posting their pictures on Facebook and Instagram, making it look like they're doing this shit, like they're really successful. But then I talked to them. I don't know if you saw recently, Halliburton, they had to lay a bunch of people off as the oil prices fluctuated, right? That was a commodity. And then a lot of my friends, a lot of my line brothers and all this type of stuff, they got laid off. And why was that? Why was that? These are not dumb people. These are people who are not smart, but they put their destiny in the hands of somebody else. And the reason I dropped out, and one of the main reasons I dropped out, is because I decided not to put my destiny in the hand of anybody else. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be somebody who truly creates success, you can't put your destiny in the hands of somebody else. Look, if you want somebody else to do all the thinking for you, then just be willing to deal with the consequences of that action. Because as long as somebody else is doing your other thinking, they're going to fire you with impunity. If a new technology comes around, they're going to fire you because it's going to cut their bottom line. This is not evil shit. This is the reality of the world. If somebody else, you're just a number in a database to somebody, then they're going to cut you at the first time they can make more profit. But as an entrepreneur, and one of the reasons I'm so passionate about entrepreneurship and why I talk about this, and I wanted to talk about the real reason I dropped out of college, is because if you're willing to take massive amount of action and be somebody who thinks for themselves, doesn't go what the mainstream narrative tells you about college and education being the only pathway to success, then you're able to gain control of your own life and control of your own destiny and push forward. But like I said, if you're not willing to work hard, there's no getting around working hard. If you go to the house, play 2K, play Madden all day, and sit at home with your mother or your mama, then guess what? You're still not going to be successful. So yeah, I know you see me and Will on here, we're joking a lot about college or whatever. And like I said before, I don't want you to get too mad and say, yo, you're talking about college. Like, I'll be honest with you. For me, college is complete bullshit. It's not really helping you get to where you want to be if you want to be an entrepreneur. What I'm talking about on this channel is how entrepreneurship can get you to where you want to be. This is practical stuff that I went through. 6 years, 8 years of being an entrepreneur and actually putting myself out there, not telling you a bunch of theory that I just watched somebody else do or some stuff I just read. Now, I will say this or whatever. Just think of a couple things when it comes to, is college for you, or should you leave college, or should you even care about your degree? I have so many friends right now that are successful entrepreneurs and business people, but they never ever use their degree. Haven't even picked the thing up. But also remember that there's a half-truth when it comes to anything. True enough, if you go to college, it's not going to necessarily prepare you for being an entrepreneur. There are jobs that it can prepare you for. But just remember, if you drop out and you don't take massive amounts of action, I will guarantee you're still going to be a washout. So it's not either or, it's not apples and oranges, it's not anything like that. So just remember that, and just remember that's why I dropped out of college, because I wasn't going to put my destiny in anybody else's hands. I wasn't going to let anybody dictate what I was supposed to be doing. I was willing to work my ass off for years to try to build some momentum in my life and create success. And if you want to be successful, that's what you have to be willing to do. If you drop out, you got to be willing to put all the chips in, go all the way in. If you leave your job, you do any of that type of shit, you got to be willing to go all the way in. But don't drop out and then you sit on your ass all day with your girlfriend, your gal in there playing Madden or whatever. You're going to movies, you're going to get some tickets, you're watching bootleg movies on Netflix, whatever the fuck you're doing, whatever, right? Don't do that. And then you're surprised when, oh, why am I not successful? I guess this entrepreneurship thing was just a pipe dream. Don't do that. Take massive action and get to where you want to be. So with that, I want to leave you with your massive action challenge for the week. Now, this week's massive action challenge is going to be a little bit different. So this week's massive action challenge is about creative visualization. And what we're going to talk about is what if. What has to be true? Now, 6 months down the line, say you're in a dead-end job, you're in corporate America, and I have friends that are in corporate America and have actually left corporate America to build businesses, and you don't like where you're at. What I want you to do is I want you to take out a sheet of paper. I always say take out a sheet of paper because you need to write these things down. If you're not doing that, you're not getting the full value of these challenges. Now, take out a sheet of paper and say, what has to be true in order for me to leave my job and get to where I want to be in 6 months? Because like I said before, you need some type of practical plan if you're going to leave your job. And I'm not telling anybody to leave their job, because like I said, if you don't take massive action, don't comment under here saying, you know, I left my job and now I'm fucking homeless. You're gonna end up under a bridge just like me. And it's your fault. I tell you to do that. If you do this, what I'm saying, this is a creative visualization. What would have to be true in 6 months for you to be able to quit your job? So you know, you'd have to make this much money to pay your bills and your expenses. You'd have to make this much money to take care of maybe your family, your kids, all these type of stuff. And how to put those things in place. And once you have that visualization, exactly, specifically what you want to create. So if you want to have a business that's generating over $10,000 a month in revenue, what specific actions would you have to take in order to get to where you want? You want to get to a point where you have enough sustainability to maintain your current lifestyle and then switch over to the lifestyle that you want. So creatively visualize. Be specific with it too. Say that I want to have a business in 6 months from now that's making $100,000 or $10,000 a month. It's a more realistic goal. $10,000 a month, and I want to be able to support my entire family. What actions would I have to take? What would I have to do? And start looking for it. See, the hardest part of this is not the fact that you may think that, oh, all the answers are going to come to me, but they're not. You're going to have to go out there and find it, but at least you have a practical action plan and you know exactly where you want to go. So I want you to do that. I want you to do this creative visualization. What has to be true for you in order to be able to get to the point you want to be? And of course, as always, join the Massive Action Movement. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I know I went in a bit today, but look, this is what it's all about. If you want to be an entrepreneur, it's not going to be the shit that you think it is. It's not going to be the simple stuff that you've been told. I wish I had this research. I wish somebody would have taught me this when I was coming up, but I had to go learn it the hard way, sleeping on floors, all that crazy shit. So like, subscribe, join the Massive Action Movement, kill that like button. It's about to rain on us. Let's get out of here, Will.
My counselor had actually, it was a specific type of, it was like advanced statistics. My counselor told me this is the class I needed to take. You know, when you go to college, you don't really know what you need to take to graduate or whatever. Your guidance counselor helps you with all that. They told me this is the type of statistics I needed to take. But it was advanced statistics, and I got an A in it. So when I went back next year, I'm like, oh, boys got an A. I'm finna advance. They actually told me that the statistic that I needed to take was basic statistics, and that this advanced statistics credit would not count towards my degree, even though it was more advanced than the statistics.
Oh,
that I was supposed to take.
That sounds like a perfectly excellent system to really guarantee success.